A new vaccine could make the brain immune to heroin and opioids, says a scientist here. Drug overdoses here in the U.S. have feared to have caused more than 60,000 deaths in 2016. But new vaccines that make the brain immune to mind-altering chemicals could be the key to ending the opioid crisis. Now, while we were discussing this story, just trying to find a good story for this segment here, Connie had some very interesting points on this, actually. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that. Now, it says a combination of the vaccine offers protection from those effects, both heroin and the synthetic opiate fentanyl is under development by researchers in the U.S., which could one day help curb addiction, even possibly prevent fatal overdoses. Now, the thing here about this is, I want to point this out, that this is not like when you go to get a vaccine for something that lasts for like years and years and years. This is lasts several months at most. So if you say get into a car accident or something and you need medical attention and you're in severe pain, if it's past that time that the vaccine, quote unquote, has worn off, it will you'll still be able to get the benefits of the opioid or whatever medication that they give you at the doctor's office. But if you're within that window, then you might be a little bit out of luck at that point.
Well, as I've read a little bit more about this, they are looking at trying to make this for basically heroin and phenol. Mm-hmm. But it's very much targeting one or two opioids, and I think that the problem that I see with this, number one, is that you don't know if maybe in another few months you're not going to need surgery. You're not going to have if an example I saw was a car wreck, a young man who had actually been addicted to heroin, and he was obviously not using this drug, but he was using other drugs to get off of his addiction. And then he was in a car accident, and the doctors were debating about how best to sedate him and treat him afterwards. And they said, well, we'll just go ahead. He'd actually gotten off of the drugs that he was weaning himself off of heroin with about a year before, and within about a month of his surgery on his hand. It's okay. Addiction is not just about somebody who doesn't have the reasons people become addicted when they're taking this and they don't actually have pain are many and varied. I worry about the way we are demonizing opioids, because there's a whole lot of people who have chronic pain who really need these drugs, and there's people who take them recreationally, and we need to understand why it is that they're doing it.
Right.
I saw a really good TED Talk for one more note, and that was talking about how we are so disconnected in our society, and people, whether it's drugs or it's gambling or cigarettes or alcohol, our addictions are a way of insulating ourselves from pain we feel emotionally in life. And so I guess I have a hard time with just saying, okay, let's just have, but specifically this vaccine is supposed to be helping people who are chronically addicted to get off of a drug. And I do understand that after having read the articles, but it's still not addressing the reason. It's almost as bad as drug addiction not addressing the reasons why people take drugs. It's just well, let's just treat this because this is a bad thing. And I don't know. I'm going to throw it open up here. Sorry, I dominated.
To counter that, no, that's cool. That's cool. To counter the last part that you just said, yes, people focus on the drug itself and how to stop the addiction or whatever, but there are people focusing on the other part of it too. They're separate. They don't work on it on both, right? So you have somebody working on the actual addiction side of it, the actual physiology, the actual chemical interaction of the drug in your brain and how to break addiction. And then you have people working on the social side of it and the reasons and stuff like that. But my three biggest things is, number one, one of my favorite quotes from my favorite movie is, "Life is pain, princess."
Which movie?
Princess Bride.
Oh, that's right.
You're right. That's what I thought.
Anybody who tells you is selling you something.
Exactly. Yes. As far as the vaccine, there are other types of painkillers besides opioids that are just as effective, just some are harder to acquire, synthesize, or use on some people. And I don't know if I'd want a vaccine for that addiction, because let's say I'm addicted to heroin. Is it really fair that I have to have autism too?
Because of the vaccine?
Because of the vaccine.
That's very funny. He's making a joke, but he sucks. Sorry, guys. We're sorry for Gumby.
You cleared it up.
Yeah, I've heard this conversation where he's like, "There's a vaccine to give you autism." those people are fucking lunatics.
They are. I don't see the problem. Because if you're addicted to heroin It's going to kill you. If you can take this vaccine and it helps remove your addiction over, even if it's 6 months, and you can get clean, then yeah, if you get into a car accident, they can put you on a local. They could put you in a coma. You're still not dead.
Yeah, for most things, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, if I may say,
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt.
on this drug, and it's only 6 months or however long it is. You can still have the cravings for it.
Yeah.
I mean, heroin's highly, highly addictive. I know somebody that whose daughter is a heroin addict, and she went on some drug to counteract the heroin, and it didn't even work. So I think it's case by case basis.
I would say that it depends on the person's physiology. I mean, even in let's say, all right, most vaccines work for most people. There are always going to be some people that when they get the vaccine for whatever it is, they are actually allergic to it for whatever reason. Their physiology just says, hey, I don't like this, get it away from me, and it has reaction.
Well, they're calling it a vaccine, but I believe the way it works is it's actually a receptor inhibitor. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it is a vaccine, but
Yeah.
that might actually be a more descriptive app.
It inhibits the
It was in my head a
receptor.
second ago. Yes, inhibitor for the receptors, yes.
In cancer care, we call that targeted therapy.
Targeted therapy, yeah.
I don't know if you do that.
Yeah,
in
that was
pain.
the word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it says here the antibody binds to the drug so the drug can't get to its target. Basically, it prevents it from crossing the blood-brain barrier for up to 8 months. So, yeah, that would have to definitely be something that would be the block the receptor, yeah.